Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah, the son of David. Today we're continuing on 82, we're on 82b, I've tracted Chullin, 82b, top of the page with the words Ha mibayale legufe. Ha mibayale legufe, im ken lichtov lo tishchot, mai lo tishchatu. The Gemara challenges that verse is necessary for the prohibition itself, and it cannot be used to teach us this additional halacha. The Gemara explains, if so, that the verse teaches only the prohibition against slaughtering an animal and its offspring in one day. Let the Torah write, "You shall not slaughter," in the singular, tishchot. For what reason did the Torah write, "You shall not slaughter," tishchatu, in the plural? Leviticus 22:28, right? It is to teach that two different people are prohibited from slaughtering, as explained earlier. The Gemara challenges, but nevertheless, the plural is necessary, as had the merciful one written in the Torah, "You shall not slaughter," tishchot in the singular. I would say, with regard to one person, yes, it is prohibited to slaughter an animal and its offspring in a single day. But with regard to two, it is not prohibited for one of them to slaughter the mother and the other to then slaughter the offspring on the same day. Therefore, the merciful one writes in the Torah, "You shall not slaughter," tishchatu in the plural, indicating that even two individuals may not slaughter an animal and its offspring in a single day. The Gemara answers, if so, that only this is derived from the verse, let the Torah write, "They shall not be slaughtered," indicating that whether by one individual or two, the slaughter of an animal and its offspring in a single day is prohibited. But the only one who slaughters the offspring has violated the prohibition. What is meant by "you shall not slaughter"? This indicates that two different people are prohibited from slaughtering. Conclude two conclusions from it. Conclude that the prohibition applies even if two people perform the two acts of slaughter, and that two cases are prohibited: slaughtering the offspring after the mother, and slaughtering the mother after the offspring. The Mishnah teaches if one slaughtered the mother and its daughter's daughter, and thereafter slaughtered its daughter, he incurs 40 lashes. Sumcha says in the name of Rabbi Meir that he incurs 80 lashes because by slaughtering the daughter, he transgresses twice the prohibition of itself and its offspring. Even though one was already dead, but I don't know. Is that the reason? That's what I would think. He slaughters. The thing was that he slaughtered the cow, and then its granddaughter, and then its daughter. So, according to the rabbis, he only gets 40 whips. According to Sumchus, he gets 80 whips. So they're asking why does. I don't see why he wouldn't get. He did kill the mother and the daughter, and the mother and daughter. Who cares what order he did it? I don't see why Sumchus should be. I see what I would think the opposite. Like, why did the rabbis say that you should only get 40? Okay, anyway, they're asking why did Sumchus say you should get 80? Okay, what is the opinion? What is the reasoning for the opinion of Sumchus that the transgressor incurs 80 lashes? Kasamer Sumchus Achal Sheni Zesi Chelev Behelem Echad Chayev Shtei Chatois. Does Sumchus hold in general that if one unwittingly ate 2 olive bulks of forbidden fat during one lapse of awareness, he is liable to bring 2 sin offerings, since he transgressed the prohibition twice? If so, then in a case where one is forewarned that if he transgresses intentionally, he will receive lashes, and then he violates the same prohibition twice, as is the case in the Mishnah, he receives 2 sets of lashes. Uvedinhu dilashmainan ve'alma v'hai dekamashmelan beha ladiacha kochan derabanan de'afad galu degufin machlakin patri rabanan. And by right, the Mishnah should have informed us of Simchas' opinion in a general case, such as that of eating 2 olive bulks of forbidden fat during a single lapse of awareness. But the reason that it teaches us this dispute in this situation where one slaughters an animal and its daughter's offspring, and later that day slaughters his daughter, is to convey to you the far-reaching nature of the opinion of the rabbis, that even though the 2 animals that caused the daughter to be forbidden are separate entities, the rabbis still exempt the transgressor from a second set of lashes. Oidin makasamer sumchus. Oidin makasamer sumchus. Where are we holding? Oidin makasamer sumchus. Okay. Achal shnei zei sechele behelem echad einu chai v'nachas v'hacha hainu taime ahoy l'guf machlakin amar lei in kasavar achal shnei zei sechele behelem echad chayav shnei chatois. Or perhaps Simchus holds in general that if one ate 2 olive bulks of forbidden fat during one lapse of awareness, he is liable to bring only one sin offering. If so, one who transgresses intentionally after being forewarned receives only 1 set of lashes, even if he transgresses the same prohibition twice. But here, in the Mishnah, this is the reason that the transgressor receives 2 sets of lashes. It is that the 2 animals that caused the daughter to be prohibited are separate entities. Rav Yosef said to Abaya, yes, Simchus holds in general that if one ate 2 olive bulks of forbidden fat during one lapse of awareness, he is liable to bring 2 sin offerings. Mi mai miditana nazeria kilaim loike. My loike idim loike achas pshito ve'oid my kilaim ela pshito shtei malkius. The Gemara asks, from where does Rav Yosef derive this? He derives this from that which we learned in the Braita, one who sows diverse kinds. Diverse kinds, meaning he twice sows grain together with grape seeds, is flogged for violating the prohibition of diverse kinds. The Gemara asks, what is meant by is flogged? If we say it means that he is flogged 1 set of lashes, this is obvious. And additionally, if he receives only 1 set of lashes, what is the reason that the case of sowing diverse kinds twice is mentioned, where he is transgressed twice? Even if he transgressed only once, he receives lashes. Rather, it is obvious that he receives 2 sets of lashes. The Gemara asks, what are we dealing with here? The Gemara asks, what are we dealing with here? If we say that we are dealing with a case where one violates the prohibition twice, one time after the other, and with no 2 separate forewarnings, it is unnecessary for the Braita to teach this, as we already learned in the Mishnah in Nazir 42a. A Nazirite who is drinking wine all day is liable to receive only 1 set of lashes. If onlooker said to him, do not drink, forewarning him several times, then he drinks after each forewarning, he is liable to receive lashes for each and every drink. Rather, it is obvious that he violated the prohibition twice, at the same time and with a single forewarning. Meaning, after he was forewarned, he sowed wheat together with the grape seed with one hand, and barley together with the grape seed with the other hand. Probably never happened ever, but okay. And he receives 2 sets of lashes. All right, we'll take a brief break here. Come back after the break. Okay, we're back. And Vital. We're holding by the question with the word mani. Mani. The Gemara asks, in accordance with whose opinion is this Braita? If we say it is in accordance with with the opinion of the rabbis who disagree with Sumchus in the Mishnah, who hold that one who slaughters an animal and his daughter's offspring, and later that day slaughters its daughter, receives only one set of lashes. Lashes. That would not be reasonable. Now, if they're in the Mishnah where there are animals that are separate entities, the rabbis exempt him from a second set of lashes since he violated a single prohibition with a single forewarning here in the Braita with regard to different kinds, where unlike animals, seeds are not considered separate entities. See 83a. If one sows diverse kinds twice at the same time, should they not all the more so exempt him from a second set of lashes? Elav sumchasi lo lo'olam rabbanon u'milusa gavuchi kamash melon. Rather, is it not that the ruling of the Braita with regard to diverse kinds is in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus and teaches that even with a single entity, one who violates the same prohibition twice receives two sets of lashes? The Gemara responds, no, actually the Braita with regard to diverse kinds is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, and he was forewarned before each act of sowing, which is why he receives two sets of lashes. And although this statement is redundant, by repeating the phrase diverse kinds, it teaches us a matter in passing, that there are two categories of the prohibition of diverse kinds, sowing wheat together with grapeseed and sowing barley together with grapeseed. Rabbi Yehoshua ad she'zochita so'era v'chalson b'mapoiles yad kamash melan nechidachita v'chalson so'era v'chalson nami michayav. And the Braita serves to exclude the opinion of Rabbi Yehoshua. As Rabbi Yehoshua says, one who sows diverse kinds is not liable by Torah law until he sows wheat and barley and grapeseed with a single hand motion, meaning by sowing in the vineyard, he violates the prohibition of diverse kinds that applies to seeds and to the vineyard simultaneously. Therefore, it teaches us that when one sows only wheat and grapeseed, or only barley and grapeseed, he is liable as well. Consequently, the source clarifying Sumchus' opinion in the case where one violates the same prohibition twice during a single lapse of awareness, or with only a single forewarning, when one violated the prohibition intentionally, has not been found. Toshima, the Gemara suggests, come in here a resolution from a Mishnah with regard to the prohibition against eating from the sciatic nerve, the Git Anoshe, on page 96a. Toshima achal mizeh kazayis umizeh kazayis soifik shmoinim. Rabbi Yehuda oimer Einoi soifik raboim hechidomi ilem v'zeh chozeh v'shtei asrois. By the time of Rabbi Yehuda, asra sofiki eshma'ina leRabbi Yehuda de'amar asra sofik la shmei asro. Okay, we learned in the Mishnah 96a that if one ate an olive bulk from this sciatic nerve in the right leg of an animal, and then an olive bulk from that sciatic nerve in the left leg of the same animal, he incurs 80 lashes. Rabbi Yehuda says he incurs only 40 lashes. The Gemara analyzes the Mishnah. What are the circumstances? If we say that he ate one after the other and with two separate warnings, what is the reason for the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda? According to Rabbi Yehuda, it is an uncertain forewarning, as Rabbi Yehuda is uncertain whether the prohibition against eating from the sciatic nerve applies to the sciatic nerve of the right or that of the left thigh. See 90b. Interesting. I never thought about that, but if you connect it to Jacob's situation, it says that he damaged his right his thigh, only one, but not the other. Maybe it's just one and not the other. Okay, anyway, and we have heard that Rabbi Yehuda says an uncertain forewarning. You know what? Chumash we can look up right now. Why can't we look it up? Right? It's in Genesis chapter 32, right? Please open your Bibles to Genesis 32. And it says, Vayiga bekaf yerecho. It says he touched the calf of his thigh, the leg, something, the calf of his thigh. To take a kaf yerech Yaakov. Yeah, and he did something. He took it. No, but teka sounds a lot like teku. Teka kaf yerech Yaakov. Okay, and v'hu tzolea al yerecho. He was limping on his thigh. Al kein lo yochlu b'nei Yisrael et gidan asher she'al kaf hayerech. Kaf hayerech ad yom hazeh. Yerech is 230, by the way. It's another hint to this whole thing. The thigh. Ad yom hazeh ki naga b'kaf yerech. It says kaf yerech like many times. Kaf is 100. Yerech is 230. Okay, anyway, you can go infinitely deep, but the point is, maybe the reason for Rabbi Yehuda says that only if a right or left leg, it makes sense, because it only says that the angel touched his thigh. It didn't say thighs. But anyway, okay, let's go back to the Talmud here. Rabbi Yehuda is uncertain whether the prohibition against eating from the sciatic nerve applies to the sciatic nerve of the right thigh or that of the left thigh, C90b. And we have heard that Rabbi Yehuda says an uncertain forewarning is not considered a forewarning. The Tanya he is zeh. B'chazor zeh kilel zeh. B'chazor kilel zeh. Oishigashnayim v'asachas. Oishigashnayim v'asachas chayu. As is taught in the Bride, if one is uncertain which of two men is his father, and he struck this man, and he struck that man, or he cursed this man, and he cursed that man, or struck both of them simultaneously, or cursed both of them simultaneously. In all these cases, he is liable for violating the prohibition of, and he that strikes his father or his mother shall be put to death, Exodus 21:15, or that of, and he that curses his father or his mother shall be put to death, Exodus 21:17, as one of them is certainly his father. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, bevasachas chayo b'zeh hazeh patur, ela pshita bevasachas b'schos achas. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda says, although if he struck or cursed both of them simultaneously, he is liable, or if he struck or cursed them one after the other, he is exempt, as each time he strikes or curses one of them, he receives an uncertain forewarning, as perhaps this man is not his father, and one is liable only after receiving a definite forewarning. Consequently, if one was forewarned before eating from the sciatic nerve from the right leg, and afterward he was forewarned before eating from the sciatic nerve from the left leg, he would similarly be exempt, as each of the forewarnings was uncertain. Rather, it is obvious that the case in the Mishnah is one where he partook of the two sciatic nerves simultaneously, and with a single forewarning, and therefore he incurs only 40 lashes according to Rabbi Yehuda. Uman tanekame ile rabonon de pligia la de sumches hashte mahasem de guf machloikin pat rabonon achne koschen elalav sumchasi. And who is the first Tana who holds that in such a case one receives 80 lashes? If we say that is the rabbis who disagree with the sumches in the Mishnah about the prohibition of itself and its offspring, that would conflict with their opinion. Now, if there, in the case of the Mishnah, that discusses various animals that are separate entities, the rabbis deem exempt from a second set of lashes. Here in the Mishnah, that discusses the sciatic nerve, where there are no separate animals. Should they not all the more so be exempted from the second set of lashes? Rather, is the Mishnah not in accordance with the opinion of Sumchis? Consequently, in his opinion, one who eats the same prohibited item, such as an olive bulk of forbidden fat, twice after a single forewarning, receives 2 sets of lashes. Lo, li'oilam, b'zeh achal zeh, v'rabbanon v'ha'itono savalo, ki'idach, Tana Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara responds, no, actually, the case is where the case is one where he ate from the 2 sciatic nerves, one after the other, and received separate forewarnings. And the first opinion in that mission is that of the rabbis who disagree with Sumchis with regard to itself and its offspring, and as for the difficulty that Rabbi Yehuda does not render one liable. If the forewarning is an uncertain one, this Tana holds in accordance with the opinion of another Tana with regard to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Yomer, Asro is sofik, Shmei Asro. The Tanya, lo yisosichu men ad boikem, and lo yisim men ad boikem, and as the other Tana says, that Rabbi Yehuda holds that an uncertain forewarning is considered a forewarning, as it is taught in a Braita. The verse states with regard to the Paschal offering, and you shall not leave any of it until the morning, but that which remains of it until morning you shall burn with fire. Exodus 12:10. We'll stop here and pick it up on the next daf.